guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. For anyone who's interested, my name is Just Christine, and today, I know that you guys can notice on the title, I will be doing a Latina tag. I'm a huge fan of this YouTuber. She's a beauty guru. She has her own channel. Her name is Monica Muse, and I've been watching her for a minute. My best friend actually put me onto her, and she was just amazing. She's this beautiful Afro-Latina female. She's very powerful. She does not care about what people think of her. She's really proud in her skin, and I love that. I love that confidence that she carries, especially being Latina. It's just, people are always wondering where you're from. Are you from here? Are you from there? Because you just look all different types of ways. Because, for a lot of people who don't know much about the Latin culture, we are very mixed. And so we may look mixed, but it's we're not. It's just, from our ancestry, we have Black, Taino Indians, and Spaniard, depending on from what country, Latin country you're from. So she's from the Dominican Republic, and I'm from Puerto Rico, and so that's right off in the Caribbean, not too far off Jamaica and stuff like that. And so it was really good to see her do a video on being Latin and how proud she is of her Latin culture and heritage. And I have a few questions here, and I just want to answer them to you guys so you guys could get to know me and where I'm from, and all those other little things. Question number 1, what is your nationality? I am 100% Puerto Rican. I've gotten my entire life thus far, I've gotten a series of other nationalities but Puerto Rican. Believe it or not, I'm pretty sure a lot of people who are watching this video might think, oh, I can definitely tell that you're Puerto Rican. Of course, because I'm mentioning it. But before, people used to think I was mostly Dominican, and I used to get like Colombian, believe it or not, Colombian. I used to get a lot of Middle Eastern countries like Yemen, Palestinian. I used to get so much, even Spaniard. Even some Spanish people used to think that I was from some foreign Latin country like Bolivia or Peru, from some weird town or something. And it was really interesting that they never said Puerto Rican. I've also gotten that I look Trini or that I look Guyanese. I've also gotten a lot of those too as well. So now I'm 100% Puerto Rican. Question number 2, do I speak Spanish? I do speak Spanish. The only thing is that when I moved from Puerto Rico, so I was born in Puerto Rico, and I lived there until I was 7 years old. And when I came here, I had to learn English. And because I practically grew up here, I adapted the American culture that I became so Americanized that now speaking Spanish is a little weird. Like, I don't know how to express myself fully in Spanish because I don't know much words in Spanish. And so it's a little hard for me to talk in Spanish. I keep repeating Spanish. What is your favorite Puerto Rican dish? So my favorite Puerto Rican dish is arroz con gandules con tostones y chuletas. That's a little bit of my Spanish, and it sounds a little off. I sound almost like a gringa, right? So I pretty much grew up with my mom cooking arroz con gandules, tostones with chuletas. That was my favorite dish. I love pork chops. Still to this day, I'll have my mom cook me some tostones with chuletas alone, or sometimes she'll throw a little bit of arroz con gandules or ensalada de codito, just the traditional dishes that you would have in a Puerto Rican family. I'm pretty sure a lot of other families have the same dish, but this is what I grew up with. When was the last time you visited Puerto Rico? So the last time I visited Puerto Rico was when I was in 2016. I was invited by my best friend and her family. She wanted me to visit her grandmother for the first time, and I thought that was a great idea for me to go back to Puerto Rico, to my roots, and get to learn a little bit about where I come from. And so we actually stood in Arecibo. That's a town in Puerto Rico, or a city in Puerto Rico. And we actually stood in her grandmother's house. So I got to experience firsthand how Puerto Ricans live in the island, how it's like day to day. I stood there for 9 days. It was beautiful. I remember going to the Marquesina every morning, having my orange juice at 7 a.m. while I was laying in the maca. The maca, just to translate it to hammock in English. And it was just the most beautiful thing. It was just so relaxing. I'm not gonna lie though, I'm a very New Yorker type of girl, and I love the city. I love the hustle and bustle. And I had a little culture shock. Like the first day landing there, I was crying, bawling my eyes out. I was homesick. I wanted to see my mom all the time because I just couldn't understand the energy there. Like it was just too quiet, too plain, too simple. I felt like I was in the middle of nowhere. But after that first day, I had such an amazing time. So that was one of the most amazing trips I've had because I went everywhere in Puerto Rico. I went to Vega Baja, Crash Boat, La Posta Beach, I think it's called. I went to so many places, and I even went to Aguadilla, to Caguas. I went to so many places, and I drove through mountains. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I will never forget that trip. I actually want to go back again and experience that exact same trip all over again. What is my favorite dessert from Puerto Rico? My favorite dessert, I don't really know if this is a Puerto Rican dessert or if this is just like a Latin dessert or maybe it's not. I don't know. But my mom always raised us, my siblings and I, with flan. In any kind of event that you are in, and there's Puerto Ricans there, there's flan. When it's Christmas, when it's Thanksgiving, even if it's a birthday, they'll give you flan. I remember my aunt gave me flan as a birthday gift, an almond flan. I like mine's more caramel vanilla-ish. And so that's one of the dishes that I've always grew up on. I'm not really sure if it was a Puerto Rican dish or not, to be honest. So I don't want to be wrong. Okay, next question. What town is your family from and what do you like most about it? So my father is from Cataño. Cataño is a small town right next to Bayamon, another small town. They're really close to each other. And they're not too far from the capital of Puerto Rico, which is San Juan. And that's where my father's from. And what I like most about it is the unity. I remember going there back when I was 21 years old for a birthday trip, and the neighbors were all in the porch. They were all hanging out in their porch and their balconies, and they were all talking with each other. And it was such a small suburban town, and you could just feel the closeness. You know, there was a lot of people who they were just united. Being from New York City and living here most of my life, there's so many people. There's hundreds and thousands of us living on top of each other in these small apartments, and everyone's always in a rush and so busy to go to their jobs or to wherever they're going that you don't feel that unity. You know, it's very diverse, and that's why I appreciate New York, and that's why I prefer to live in New York because it's more diverse. But in Puerto Rico, it was just this togetherness that you felt. You know, you would wake up, you would see the same face, and you would go to sleep, and you would say goodbye to that same person that you saw in the morning, and it was a beautiful routine. So that's one thing I like about my family's town. What is one house product that describes your culture? So I don't know if this is a Puerto Rican dish or not. All I know is that my mom always cleaned the house when I was young, and she still cleans it to this day with either mistolin or fabuloso. I don't know anybody else who uses fabuloso mistolin. You should comment down below and tell me if you do. But my mom used to always wash the floor. She still does to this day. And I actually picked up that habit because I love the way mistolin and fabuloso smells, especially when you put really hot boiling water in the mop and you put the mistolin or fabuloso and you let it sit there and you start mopping your floor. That smell stays here for a few days. I love that smell. I know a lot of people might think like, what the heck? You know, it's weird, but I love that smell. So I don't think that those products are Spanish products. I'm not really sure. Don't quote me on it. I don't know the history of those products, but all I know is that she always cleaned the house with that. And that's something that always reminds me. And even my friends' families used it. My aunts used it. So I identify that with my Puerto Rican culture. Question number 8. Do your parents or grandparents had plastic over their sofas? My mom had plastic over her sofas when I was about like 10 years old. She would constantly have house parties every Friday. She would have her coquito, her Hennessy out. She would have her girlfriends over. Sometimes we would bring up the kids from the neighborhood upstairs and we'll have a full-on house party. And so my mom did have plastic over her sofas because her sofas had like this glittery texture to it. And they also had like these weird like texture designs in it. And so she wanted to make sure that nobody spilled something on it. And after a while, when you keep sitting down on sofas and people are mistreating it, it starts to wear off. So she would always protect it with plastic. I don't really think that that's a Puerto Rican thing or a Latin thing. I think that just to protect and preserve your expensive furniture, you would do and whatever you need to do, right, to protect it. Like if you are a person who's balling and you got white Gucci couches in your house, you're going to make sure that you know, buy a blanket or you buy something to protect it, to preserve it. You know, you might not have even people sitting on your white Gucci couches if you're that fancy. So I don't think that's a Puerto Rican thing. I just feel like if you really care about your stuff, you protect it, you're going to do whatever it needs, right? To whatever. You get my drift? Next question. Who is your all-time favorite merenguero? Every single time there was a big family party, I remember I used to go to Katona up in the Bronx. And my aunt used to always have these huge parties. And she used to play this song, which I need to play it to you guys because if I don't, I'm going to regret it. And I don't want to say the name because I don't want to give it up. But she used to play this song all the time. I don't know if he's a salsero or merenguero, but this was my all-time favorite song. And I know that when you listen to the song, you're going to know what I'm talking about. Come on. Tell me that no Puerto Rican family out there didn't have this banging, jamming. You knew that you was jamming to this. You was about to start getting your dance on when you heard Elvis Crespo. All right? Besame otra vez, te quiero sentir tus labios, besándome otra vez. Okay, enough of that. Elvis Crespo was like an idol growing up. Every single time they used to put that song, it was amazing. Even another song that I have to put you on to. Oh my God. El Bipe. You know. Oro Sonido, you know that this was the jam. You know that once this shit went on, everybody was dancing on a train, all right? So this was the shit. It was amazing. So I don't know if these are salseros or if these are merengueros, but those are my all-time favorites. And the final question is, do you know bachata? I know bachata very well. I go dancing almost every weekend. If you don't catch me up in Dykeman on the Heights in some Dominican spot dancing to La Bachaterita right there, you will catch me downtown listening to hip hop. But I am really good at dancing bachata. My feet movement, my hip swings are legendary. So I know how to dance bachata very well. I think that that's a universal Latin expression. I think we all know how to dance bachata, but I just think that there's different ways and how people want to dance it. I've never heard of Latin culture not knowing what bachata was. I've never heard it. So if there is a Latin culture out there that don't know what bachata is, please comment down below and let me know and educate me because I don't really know much about my culture. I took Latin history before, you know, to learn about what Puerto Rico comes from and stuff. But if there's things that you know that I am missing out, please let me know. So that's it. That's it with the question, you guys. That was the only questions that I had here. If there's any other questions that you want to know about my Latin culture or about me, leave a comment down below and ask me or write me a private message on my social media. That way I can go ahead and give you those answers. Before I end the video, I do want to let you know to embrace yourself, you guys. Love yourself for who you are. Be comfortable in your skin. Don't let anyone tell you any different because you are worthy in this world and you have a place here and you are important and we need you here. For everybody out there who are struggling in some sort of way, embrace yourself. Because I've gone through things where people question my weight. You know, I'm too skinny. So how can you be Latina because you're too skinny? You know, and people will say things like that. Like if you went to my country in Honduras or wherever you're from, you know, people will assume that you're sick because you're skinny. And it kind of knocked me off my path for a while because it made me think like, so do I have to gain the weight or look a certain type of way to be deemed Latina? I think that just like there's many different shades in the Latin culture, there's a lot of different body shapes as well. And so don't let nobody tell you otherwise. You're Latina 100% because you say you are. All right? I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the information that I gave you. If there's anything else that you need to ask me, please comment down below. Like, subscribe to my video, you guys. I'm doing this for fun. I love doing this. I love creating new content. It's my passion. So keep watching, keep tuning in. Your views matter. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching my videos since you're interested, and I'll see you maybe tomorrow.